Red News United fancy.
I've always wanted to be a part of Manchester United.
The only club of its kind in the world.
Without Mudser, Sean wouldn't be at this point.
The supporters club give me a sense of belonging.
It's being part of the community. If you're a fan of United, we're a fan of you.
It's a way of life.
If you can't see it, how can you want to be it?
The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, whatever happens, I'm United till I die.
Pull back to Ahmad, potentially on the edge of the penalty area, or Diogo Dalot. They're both waiting for it. Instead, dinked into the box. Casemiro! What a header from the Brazilian! That makes 4 headed goals in the Premier League for the Brazilian this season. A thumping header from the edge of the 6-yard box.
What was it for you about football?
One, I was good at it. Growing up, you'd only see little bits on the telly because it's not like it is today. And then I really enjoyed it. But I didn't really understand about teams when I was, not like, I mean, you get teams at 5, 6, 7 now, aren't there?
Yeah.
I don't think there was much of that age going on when I was younger. It was more 10, 11, 12. And it was just normal. It was just normal. I played with the lads on the street, messing about. That was it.
Before you know it, you're making your debut for Manchester United.
Yeah.
You must remember that, though.
Do you remember that? Yeah. Big Pally killed me the night before. Funny he is. He told me I was playing, didn't he?
Pally did, didn't he?
Yeah, he told me I was playing. But I might have been, but you know, Gaffer sometimes changed it. Yeah. So it was the second to last game against Leeds. And I didn't go to sleep that night. I couldn't sleep. But I wasn't tired the next day. I think it was adrenaline. And then I was sub, and then I come on. But yeah, that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing.
Do you think you'd rather have not been told the night before?
No, I'm glad he did.
Okay.
Adrenaline kicks in.
Was you nervous before games?
Not after that. No, normally
Throughout
not.
your career, I mean?
No.
No. Apprehensive or?
I'll tell you what I used to do. If whoever was marking that day, I'd say in my head, "You are getting it today," and that's all I needed. Which
invariably they did.
Yeah, but does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm gonna be better than you today.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I needed. I don't need much more.
It wasn't pretty at the London Stadium, but United showed bravery, spirit, resilience once again to fight back from 1-0 down to earn a point thanks to Benjamin Sesko's injury time goal. It was a terrific finish by the big striker, equalising an earlier effort from Thomas Souček. 1-1, maybe not the result we wanted at the start of the game against relegation-threatened West Ham, but given the nature of the 90 minutes and the way we were struggling to make many chances, it looks like a point game, doesn't it? Welcome to Matchday Review, where we'll pick the bones out of that performance with our two former players, Danny Webber and Wes Brown. Wes, we haven't quite achieved the 5 wins out of 5 that we all hoped for, but it's another match unbeaten at a venue we lost last season, so is it a point gained?
Yeah, listen, I'll take that result. Very difficult game to come into. You know, West Ham are on the up. I always thought at some point we'll have a little dip. Maybe it was the engines of the lads a little bit. But I tell you what, they did well to stay in it. You know, a lot of time added on. But we got the men forward, we got in the box, and what a goal by Sesko, what a touch. Webbs, will tell you that's difficult to do far post, just to get his right foot on it. And they stayed in the game. You know, simple as that. It's one of them games where maybe from the off you felt we were off a little bit, you know, just a tiny little bit. It wasn't going perfectly going forward. When we got in the final third, it was very sloppy. The balls in the box weren't the best. plus a West Ham playing very tight, lots of players packed in their box, clearing it very well. And then you look at the second half, you're just hoping we get the first goal. They did, and made it difficult for us. You know, they did start to defend a little bit at the end, and we needed a touch of quality, which we got. But again, I think Michael will be very happy with how we've come back into the game.
The finish from Sesko, Wes just touched upon it there. A brilliant finish. Webbs, as a former Premier League striker yourself, how difficult is it to finish like that? And what quality did that goal have?
The quality on the ball, or the pace is on the ball coming in, but to get in front of your defender and then just to flick it, because he's not got a chance to really get a good strike on it. He's got to use the pace on the ball and just redirect it. And he does it so nonchalant that I think it takes the keeper by surprise. Keeper's expecting the ball to flash across the far post. It doesn't quite get there. And then he's got to react. But it's a great finish. And then just to pop it up into the top corner effectively. It's a really, really intelligent finish. And I was happy for Šeško, because obviously we spoke before the game about subs making an impact, and it's happened quite a lot since, in the last 5 games. And in games like that, where it's scrappy, where it's not quite happening for you, you need a moment. And that was, we're deep into injury time. We didn't give up, and it was a great moment for him. And, Michael's made the changes, he's come on up front. The only thing I would say is that we didn't get the ball in the box enough. Crossing the ball, because every time we put the ball in the box and we crossed it, there was Casemiro's offside goal, and Bruno put a great ball into the box as well, and obviously we get a goal from a cross. So it's like, if we'd have capitalised more when we got into wide areas, I think we would have got a little bit more out of the game. But that said, listen, the spirit's there. We never gave up. Xerxes' header came off a cross as well, and we just kept going. So to take something from the game based on where we were at, it's a real positive at the end of the game.
It certainly is. We will take this opportunity to welcome our viewers on YouTube. On that platform, you can get involved in the show by commenting, ask a question to the lads by all means. We'd love to hear from you. Kay Tulit says, at least we're still undefeated in 2026. And the unbeaten record does go on. Like I said, it's not the 5 wins from 5, which we'd have loved. However, how much does not losing help when we go into this mini break now with no FA Cup action at the weekend before we make the trip to Everton?
It's massive. Listen, if you're watching the screen now, you see both teams a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
West Ham that they've not held out, and us that we've maybe not played better in the first place and gone there and got the win with how we've been playing. But I still think it's a great result with how the game went. Again, like you've just said, Michael hasn't lost a game yet. These games happen, football's football, and sometimes when it's not your day to come out with a draw is a good result. We've got a bit of time off now till the next game, and you can regroup and focus and get fresh legs back in. But yeah, it was a difficult game, and I thought heads didn't go down at the end. Some quality balls in, the balls that were quality, we actually nearly got chances on every single one, but we was a little bit sloppy and a little bit going forward. It wasn't with us today. We wasn't on point, but you see, as when the balls were good, we got opportunities. So listen, you take a lot out of it, but you can also learn from maybe making mistakes as well. Some
of the players who have been performing so well of late, were they just a little bit off it today? Is that something that just can happen?
I think you've got to give credit to West Ham. I think you do. I think the games we've played, people have played a high line against us. So Bruno's been able to play people in behind, and Bumo's been running, and we've had the runners so we can stretch the game. They came today and gave us no space in behind. They pulled the midfielders on top of the defenders and the strikers in behind. So that at times, they've got full 11 players sat behind the ball. And so
that's probably why it wasn't that pretty a game.
Well, 100%. And they're prepared to break with Somerville and Bowen and then try and support. And obviously they get their goal from a ball that gets looped up. Luke Shaw doesn't quite deal with it in the middle. And then obviously Souček's the runner to go and knock it in. But I think you have to give credit to Nuno. He's thought to himself, I'm not going to give you the space in behind. And then it's a different skill set. There's only a certain amount of ways you can get your goals. You either take shots outside the box when it's like that and they're closing you down, or you get crosses in. And when we did get crosses in, we caused problems.
Yeah, we sure did. Okay, more from the lads in a moment, but let's head to the London Stadium to get the thoughts of Ben Thornley, who is watching there with Zara.
So Manchester United decided to sneak a goal there in the second half to get the draw. What did you make of that second half performance? It was very different to the first half.
Yeah, it was frustrating, wasn't it? And when we conceded early in the second half, they sort of sucker punched us. They're quite happy to try and play on the counter. They didn't really create much in the first half. But when you've got players like Bowen, like Somerville, who've got pace to get in behind you and to cause you problems, then you always need to be on the lookout. And it was Souček who obviously put the ball in the back of the net. And there'll be different areas of that Michael Carrick, I'm sure, will look at that won't have pleased him. But the response was just United throwing everything that they possibly could, and in the end they got the reward. It's a brilliant finish, I have to say, a really good finish that it sort of out of nowhere, but for him to turn that ball into the top corner there from the position he was in, the only place he could have found, it just shows that while other things may not be going for him, they've still got that resilience and that never say die attitude, that fight to the end, where we've seen them score goals like that in previous matches, and they've done it again tonight and salvaged a point for us.
Exactly that, because before the game we spoke about how much of a difficult place this is to come to and the tricky results that we've had here. So before that, even with the run that we've been on, we knew that it was going to be a tough task
Yeah,
today.
it will be, purely and simply because of the form that West Ham are now showing, that they realised that they were fast running out of games, and in order to survive in the Premier League they needed to start putting a run together, and they've done that. They've won 3 out of the last 4. They've obviously gone unbeaten again tonight, which is going to put more pressure on the teams that are slightly above them, and we've continued our unbeaten run. Okay, it's not 3 points, but it's another point, it's not a defeat, and we just need to make sure that when the next game comes, we've had a little bit of a blip, which is understandable. It's very, very difficult to win 5 straight games in the Premier League, even if you go and win it. United have done 4, they've drawn 1. We'll get back to winning ways at Everton in a couple of weeks' time.
I hope you're right then. Back to you guys.
Thanks for that. We'll bring your reaction from West Ham as soon as we get it. In the meantime, your comments still keep coming in. This from Garda viewer. Šeško's finish has to be contender for goal of the season. Would you put it up there, Wes?
I'm not sure. It's difficult to
Dorgie might have something to say about that.
I mean, Wes might know better than that. But, I mean, listen, it's the finest touch, isn't it?
Yeah.
He still has to put it backwards, but he's put it near post high. He won't be doing that every game. So it is a great goal. Is it spectacular?
It's a very good finish. But if you look, like you say, you mentioned like Bruno's put him in the top bin when it's been a pressurised situation. There's been other goals that have been of top draw.
Yeah.
So to be goal of the season, I think it's a bit far, but it's a top finish in its own right. Yeah,
It's not a tap-in, is it?
No, it's a special finish.
Yeah, it's like a finesse.
Yeah,
beautiful,
brilliant finish. Chevignon Johnson says, "I'm very happy with the result. West Ham never gave us space or time to play," which is what you boys have been saying. And Rosie, we take the draw after that, still unbeaten under Carrick. What will his message be, Michael Catt, to his players after that?
I think well done. Not because you've won the game, but well done because the spirit's still there. You didn't throw the towel in. Your subs have come on and made an impact in a game that's really tough. And I think, we were speaking off air about winning 5 games in the run list, and that's not a thing, apart from the guy with his hair.
Yeah, it's a media thing, isn't it?
If you take him out of the equation, and then you look at the form of winning 4 games and drawing 1, that's really good form. 13 out of 15 points, and it's top form. So if you
that's championship form, isn't it?
It's really good, and you do get nights like this. And West Ham have been a tough one for us at their stadium for a while anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not a case of we have an automatic right to go and win. We don't. Yes, we're all excited because we're in good form and we're going into it off winning 4 good games. But it's a tough game. The Premier League's a tough gig, and we said Nuno sets them up in a certain way. So in the end, once they've got their goal, they make it difficult for us again. And we've got to go and find a way to get back into it. So the positive is really finding a way to take something from a game.
And is the question that arises from this still the same problem we've had quite often in the last year or 2 or 3, which is how to beat a team who do defend deep, the low block as you call it, get men behind the ball and let us have possession and try and break them down?
Yeah, listen, I think when you get it wide, you can get it in, but they're so compact, there's a lot of bodies there. And I think we're a lot better, obviously, passing the ball forward. little 1-2s around there, but it's that little through ball maybe. But listen, it's so much better. There's not much you can complain about. But at times it's just, can someone make that little bit more space to maybe get a shot off, or make that run and there's an angle to play the ball. But again, I knew it was going to be difficult like that, and we're not a team just to keep shooting from outside. But they did give us a lot of ball in the midfield and let us control, and saying to us, come and beat us, try and get through us. We did a lot of that in training, and believe me when I say this, the defenders normally won, because it's hard to break down.
Yeah, it sure is. In a little bit, we'll hear from the goal scorer, Benjamin Šeško. But before that, let's hear what our commentators made of it all. David May was doing it with Liam Bradford.
Maisie, Manchester United, what a characterful performance from them. Managed to take a point away from the London Stadium. When you look at the stats across the game, Manchester United had more of the ball, more shots on target. It felt, didn't it, like it was coming all the way through, and then they get done by a single sucker punch from West Ham, and you think that the game's over, only for it to explode back into life in the dying stages.
That's football, Ian. It really is. They had maybe a couple of chances, one in the second half where they get the goal, but it shows great credit to Manchester United. It really did. The managers changed it. Michael Carrick's changed the players on there. Josh Xerxes had a great opportunity just before the goal, and I kept saying through the game, you've got to get crosses in the box, and when we did, we started causing them real problems. Josh Xerxes with a header just put it wide, but I must say that finish by Benjamin Šeško is absolutely top draw. Absolute top draw finish. Really was.
10 fouls committed by West Ham over the course of the game. You compare that to just the 4 committed by Manchester United. It was a real bone of contention for both of us, wasn't it? As we were watching the game, it felt like it was persistent from West Ham.
It was persistent. It always looked like. I mean, you look at the stats there. It took him probably 5-6 bookings to actually fouls to actually get booked. Did we do enough? I think we did enough to win the game. Chances created. We didn't really create that many chances. Just too late on, which obviously we've got the goal. But I think Michael Carrick will be absolutely delighted that we've managed to get something out of the game, particularly the way it was going. You're just thinking, West Ham made it difficult. They sat back, and you knew they were going to sit back. Once they went in front, they were just defending for their lives. But fair play to the lads. They kept going, they kept battling, and they got this rewards.
The final stat that I just want to bring up, 260 passes completed by West Ham compared to 542. Yeah. And it just goes to show that it's not necessarily having the ball, it's what you do with it when you've got it.
It is. And I was saying through the commentary there, the amount of passes that are going into midfield and coming back to the centre halves. We did have a lot of possession, but there wasn't a lot of penetrative passes through their defence, through their midfield. Yes, we look good, but eventually, once you start slinging a ball in the box and you're getting bodies into the box, you start creating chances, and that's what we did, and we managed to get one.
1 point is better than no points for Manchester
Absolutely.
United. It keeps the undefeated run going. It's really good news, and now attentions can turn to next time out for Michael Carrick's side. Maisie, thank you very much indeed. In the meantime, let's get back to you.
Yeah, thanks to the lads for that. And looking at those stats, you can see how much we dominated Webbs, but what the stats don't show you there is how difficult we found it to try and create many chances.
Yeah, you can see there's not many clear-cut chances. There's efforts that are not on target. I think we had 9, based on what we've just seen there. But it does tell the story of us having a lot of the ball, not being able to break them down, probing, and you spend a lot of the time, trying to move them around. But they were good in terms of being solid and resilient and not letting us through. And you get games like that. And I think one of the challenges for us going forward is if people start to do that, then how do we break them down?
Yeah, because I remember after the Fulham game seeing the stat which said, because we had less than 45% possession against Fulham, and it said out of the 9 games when we've had less than 45% possession, we won 7, drawn 2, which showed how the team likes to play on the counter-attack and concede the ball a bit.
Well, we've got the players to do that. We've got the pace, we've got the skill. to get up the field and create chances. It's a little bit harder when everyone's behind the ball, cutting out the spaces and trying to cut out the pass as well. So,
but your teams would have always had more of the ball when you were playing in those teams and found a way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Listen, like I said, under Michael, what's this, the 5th game now? They will find a way because there's so much more positive on the ball, the way they pass it, the little passes. No one's panicking. Cobby's been brilliant. And eventually they will, they'll find a way to open up teams. But we just couldn't do it today. I mean, listen, West Ham are fighting for their lives. People forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to be throwing everything at it. And let's be honest, they had opportunities as well. They broke as well on us. And Yoro was another one who came on and was excellent, put himself in some great positions where, if their team was to play it a bit early, they might have been in, but he was excellent coming on, so that's another positive. But again, we knew this was going to be tough, and we've all watched the game, and we take the draw. Happy days.
Yeah.
Yes, we would have liked to see the run go on, but that's a game we could have easily lost at that late stage of it.
Certainly was. Well, the player who scored the equalising goal, Benjamin Šeško, is speaking to us now.
So Ben, we have to settle for a point here in London. How do you reflect on the performance?
Yeah, it was difficult starting the game a little bit. I think a little bit intensity was missing. Yeah, it's just one of those games, but that it's not going to be that easy because especially they were stepping back, they were really compact, just trying to go for the counter-attacks. It's just something that we have to learn from. I think everyone won it. Everyone was trying to win the game, score, fight for each other. Unfortunately, this didn't happen today, but at least we got a draw, which is important in the end.
And you were such a huge factor in that as well. It was a terrific goal that you scored, an incredible creative flick there. How did you feel in that moment?
No, I felt amazing because at least I know that, once again I could help the team trying to secure at least 1 point. And now it's a great feeling for me as well to try to help the team, knowing that I can help the team in all kind of moments. And yeah, obviously without the teammates I couldn't do it. So I'm looking forward to more moments like this.
And the past few weeks has shown how much determination and drive is within this entire squad. And you can see that today, and you must feel that in the changing room.
No, definitely. Again, I said many times that we are living for each other. We are doing everything to win the games, to secure the Champions League spot because we believe it. We have the team for it. We have the quality. And we're going to fight towards it. Today, unfortunately, the game was like it was. We have to now look forward for the next game and try to win it.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, brilliant for him to go and get that equalising goal, coming off the bench and affecting the game again. Certainly impressed Kagi, who says, to be fair, not every game will be great. They all gave their best, and some players could do with some rest maybe. Still unbeaten, great attitude throughout the game. Credit Šeško. We all credit Šeško with that wonderful finish. Let's have a look at the table and see how it stands at the moment. Chelsea also drew tonight, so they don't gain on us. It remains us on 45, Chelsea 44, so still remains a 1 point difference to the Blues. We've gained a point on Villa, who play tomorrow night, so we'll have to see how they fare. Liverpool face a tricky trip to Sunderland, who haven't lost at home. Let's hope that run continues. So 45 points, 2 behind Villa. It was right in the mix, Wes.
It is. It's not bad at all when you look at it like that. And listen, you can't focus on other teams, but no one expected us to be there at this point from where we was. So they've done a really good job. Yes, we've got a good rest now for the next game, and we expect to win that. But looking at the table, we're in Champions League spot. We've got the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool breathing down our necks, but we've just got to take every game as it comes, and we're playing good enough to pick up points, and that's all we can do.
And Villa host Brighton. That's not a given that they're going to beat the Seagulls, is it? Brighton are a good side.
Brighton are a good side. On any given day, they can win against any side, depending on how they turn up. And what Villa have got their high intensity. You know what you're going to get from Unai Emery's team. They've got goal scorers, and they're well oiled. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sat in third position. But listen, our task now is to go out there and chase Villa. chase City. You know, that's got to be the sort of motive. You know, not looking beneath us, looking about how many points we can gain, how can we try and bridge the gap, and then by doing that, you create more of a gap from the teams underneath you.
Let's have a look at the bottom of the table. The point for West Ham edges them further clear of Burnley, just behind Forest. Spurs, who lost at home to Newcastle tonight, are getting dragged into it. Spurs.
Yeah, the Spurs.
Do you think that? I asked Webbs before the game, are they in a relegation battle? I mean, are they?
They're not in a good spot, are they? You know, they've obviously lost the captain as well. Nothing's really going for them at the moment. West Ham are playing probably the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
In my mind, they probably creep out of it, and Nottingham Forest go in it. But if Spurs carry on, then believe me, they'll be fighting for their lives near the end. But it's very tight there. But West Ham have done well to sort of get where in the position they are from that obviously really bad start of the season.
Comments coming from Odin Betty, and it refers to the player behind you, boys. Harry Maguire just saying Maguire was complete class. Good performance from Harry again. A slight concern when he was replaced by Lenny Euro, because there was a couple of moments in the game when he was kind of clutching his hamstring, certainly the back of his leg anyway. So let's hope that was just a precautionary substitution.
Yeah, he's been a real presence and a real leader since he's been back in the team and Michael's been at the helm. Him and Martinez have been solid, and if he is injured, it will be a miss. Not just from his footballing ability, just for his presence. What I do love about Harry is that all the stick that he took years ago, kept his mouth shut, he got on with it, and came through the other side. And he seems to have come through with a huge amount of confidence and resilience, and you know, he's been in really good form in the past 5 games.
If for whatever reason he's not ready, you've got Lenny Euro to come in, who enjoyed his little cameo, and you were quite impressed with how he came on and got right up to speed with the game.
Yeah, listen, it's horrible coming on as a defender, I'm telling you. And he got put in a couple of situations and he handled it fantastic. You know, he got his distances right, approached the attacker when he needed to. And listen, as a defender, you just need to get it right when you come on. But he looked fit, he looked healthy. You know, he was didn't look like he's been out for a while. So listen, if someone like Harry is out, is the perfect guy to bring in, you know, and we've still got others as well there.
So we've got a bit of time to kind of recover and get ready for the next game. By the time we play Everton, Mason Mount should be ready.
Yeah.
Matthias de Ligt's getting ever closer, so hopefully the squad will evolve again and get stronger still.
Yeah, the competition for places, that's what we spoke about before the game. It's really healthy. If Harry's got a knock, it gives him another sort of 13 days to, I think it is, till the next game, to get himself back in the mix. So you're fortunate in that way, that if there's knocks, if there's niggles, because you've not got a sort of heavy calendar of games, then the boys can get back and you can do a bit of work on the training pitch. You can do the intense stuff for the lads that need it and pull away on the lads that don't, and just get the balance right. So we're ready, because we've got one competition to play in.
Yeah.
And we've got to make the most of it between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, we sure have. It looks like we won't have time in this show to bring you Michael Carrick's interview, so head to the Manchester United website or the Manchester United app to hear from the head coach and any further reaction we get from the London Stadium. But on reflection now, Michael will come back to Manchester and be able to reflect on his 5th game in charge. How will he be feeling?
Listen, obviously I'd be disappointed he didn't go there and win, but it was a tough game. We all watched it, and he'll be more than happy with how the lads reacted, kept it going to the end. They would have been tired, kept their heads up. You know, the subs come on, done their part, and like we said, he'll understand that in the next 13 days there'll be players coming back as well, so he'll have more options. So listen, I don't think it'd be too hard on the lads there. He still worked hard and done a lot of running, but we just missed a little bit of quality in the final third. But yeah, we've got a lot of time now to practice and get things done for the next game.
Yeah, well, I'll be sure head into the app to hear from Michael. Fascinated to hear what he has to say. Thanks everyone for your comments if you made them. If not, next time get involved and we'll read as many out as we can. If you're in the UK, you can watch the match in full from midnight on MUTV. But for now, from Webbs, Wes and myself, it's a little while before we see you again when we make the trip to Everton. Until then, have a great time and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, I think in England there's like this image of a centre back, that how it should be done and how a player of a centre back should be looked the way he is. And I think now these days you can fill it in different ways. And like Martinez, he's a great centre back. He's so aggressive. He's really good with his feet. He's really good at tackling. So yeah, you cannot write him off just because he's maybe not the height you expect him to be. But I think he showed himself directly that he is capable of everything.